Retopology, one of the most important steps for high-quality game models, especially character. In this video I will share with you my process of retopology, which is perfect for the game industry. Watch to the end, and the end the most important. This will be a short video series covering the full character creation pipeline, retopology, UV mapping, baking, and texturing. My name is Alex. I'm 3D artist in game development. Subscribe if you want to grow up your 3D modeling knowledge. Huge thanks to my friend sculptor Ishak for providing this high poly model. If you're curious about sculpting Omni-Man like in this video, or want to improve your character sculpting skills, definitely check out his channel. Now let's jump into retopology. So the first step, activate two add-on in Blender. These are F2 add-on and loop tools. Then add a plane and move to head. Then we need to activate snap tool by face and tap to these marks. As you can see, our face is snapping to our mesh, and now we can start make our wireframe. I want to add a loop around eye. Hold Ctrl and left click for create a new vertex. Always keep an eye on the number of vertices in the loop. It should be even. To do this, go to the overlay viewport and enable statistics. Now we can look at your vertex number. Select our loop and tap to E for extrude our loop. As our model is symmetry, let's add a mirror modifier and continue our work. Let's add a second loop around the nose and mouths. Our task is to make the main rings, which we will later fill with a grid. This will allow us to make the topology cleanly and quickly. Now I'm adding another loop for the mouth. Be sure to follow the shape of your model. Your new mesh should repeat it as much as possible. In this case, I make edge along the junction between the lip and the face to convey the silhouette as much as possible. I make the same loop along the entire head of our character, from the chin to the forehead. We don't need to extrude each face, we just need to connect to edge into a face and add edge loop there. So let another loop around the eyes and nose, and after that we can start filling the grid. To fill, I always use F2 add-on. I just select one edge and press F. I do it many times, the whole ring is filled. At this stage I also remove or add edge to connect the ring together into an even grid. For the rest of the head, a dense mesh is not needed, so I make the transition from 2 to 1 polygon in this way. You can see the other transitions on the screen, I will use them later in the video. We have made the main rings around the eyes, around the mouth, around the nose and around the head, so let's fill our model. I just connect to edge and add loops, and also use F2. As you can see, it's so fast and clean result. In general, I said important information about this stage. But for now, watch the time lapse with music and repeat for me. So let's smooth the mesh a little. To do this, go to the sculpting mode, select the smooth brush and select the surface. So our mesh will be smoothed, but the silhouette will not change. For the ears, we make the same basic ring and highlights the main shapes, which we fill which polygon first, after which we also fill the voids. the eyes. For them, we create a sphere and rotate it so that the center of the eye is at the junction of the sphere's vertices. Let's clean things up a bit and create a separate collection for our low poly. Now we move on to the massage. We do the same. First we set the general shape and then we refine it and add a support loops. So the last stage of head retopology is our hair. I made them using curves, so to make their low poly version I just need to copy them and reduce the resolution to the minimum possible. Mesh intersection is bad form, so I'll change the shape a little to fix it. Since we just removed the curve resolution, we immediately get a good low poly mesh, and we don't need to do this manually. And now the most interesting part. What is 1000 triangle for modern game? Yes, it's nothing. It's a great mesh for mobile game, but if we need it for an Unreal Engine, we just add the subdivision modifier and drag it higher than shrink wrap. This way we get a more detailed mesh, but it's still perfectly optimized mesh for a game engine. Moreover, we can add a couple more levels and get a clean high poly mesh which we'll send to bake.